Welcome back to What You Will Learn. My name is Adam George Ashton.
And my name is Adam Jones. Mate, you started the comedy a bit early with the George. Is that attempted a gag after reading this book?
You've said Adam Stephen Joseph Jones before, so I thought I'd throw mine in.
That's good, man. Anyway, the book we're doing today is called The Comedy Bible, From Stand-Up to Sitcom, The Comedy Writer's Ultimate How-To Guide by Judy Carter.
So it's probably a little bit outside our normal range, our normal realm of expertise. We've gone comedy, very way out of our comfort zone, and the reason being is we're doing a stand-up comedy course, 5-night course culminating in a show. Yep. So that's going to be massive comfort challenge.
Comfort challenge. Obviously, it's something we're going to be, we're both pretty timid of, and I think it's human nature to be scared of something like, standing on stage in front of people, trying to make them laugh and crack a few gags. I think there's nothing what scares me more than that, so hence we're reading this book, we're going to have a crack at it.
So if anyone wants to come along, it's in Melbourne, in South Yarra, 29th of March, so a Thursday night in a couple of weeks.
Yep. Just send us a DM or find it on Google or whatever. But yeah, so the book is, as we said, the Comedy Writer's Guide, and it goes into writing sitcoms and everything like that. But we're going to knuckle down, excuse me, I just burped, and niche down, right down into the stand-up comedy part, and into the joke structure and how to get a few laughs when you're standing on stage.
Man. It's at 3 parts, 340 pages. We're going to knuckle down just on this sort of 100-page section on trying to be funny and tell jokes and stuff.
Yep.
And she says that's important. Like, even if you want to be funny, if you want to be like a writer, if you want to write a TV show, write a funny book, write a funny article, anything, she says it's important to do stand-up comedy because it's the ultimate test. It's the most condensed version. You have to be quick to get to your punchline, and you have to learn what's funny and what's not funny, and the best way to do it is by bombing on stage, essentially by telling a shit joke.
Yeah, just having a crack at it. So, as we said, the book's for the person who wants to make a career out of comedy. And she says at the very start, people like Jay Leno, he was actually an auto mechanic before he was in comedy. A guy called Barry Kempt was a taxi driver. A guy called Rodney Dangerfield was selling house paint. So a lot of the real famous comedians who are making a great living today out of comedy, they started out just being Joe Blows.
Yeah, exactly, man. It's one of those things that it's almost like there's no prerequisites other than being funny. And it's something you can work on, something you can develop. There's probably a small amount of confidence and stuff, but really, it's if you want to do it and work hard at it, you probably can. Yep. You can try anyway.
That's it. So part 1 of the book was the warm-up. Is there any hope for you?
And what do you got on that, mate?
Yeah, I got a little bit. So he says about getting ideas. She says that you need to pay attention to all the little things that are going around you. And Jerry Seinfeld, for example, he goes, I get my ideas from life. So he was out for dinner and ordered a bottle of wine, and the waiter gave him the cork to smell. And Jerry Seinfeld just smelled and was like, oh, yep, it smells like a cork. So then all of a sudden that became part of his stand-up gig. Yep. So always keeping your eye out for the little things that happen in life that might be funny. You can just kind of inject into your gig, as we'll get into.
Exactly, man. And later on she talks about how, trying to be funny is a surefire way to be a hack, essentially.
Yep.
Whereas if you're just always observant, always noticing things around you and coming up with insightful, original, funny things based on everyday stuff, that's the way to actually become a proper comic.
Yep. And she addresses one of the biggest issues about stand-up comedy in this part of the book as well. And comedy, be afraid, be very afraid. So it's how addressing the fear. And she says it is actually a good thing. Yeah. Fear isn't the problem. It's how you deal with it. And brave people are not unafraid. It's just that they act despite the fear.
So she goes through 5-step fear management program. So step 1 is to admit your fear. So list out all your fears, and there's probably going to be a lot of them, specifically as it relates to doing a live comedy act. Step 2 is evaluate them. So go back and look at things that aren't actually dangerous or harmful. Step 2 is tell a friend, and generally when you vocalize it, you realize actually this is a pretty stupid fear. And then step 4 is finding golden opportunities. So if something bad happens, what's something good that could come out of it? And then step 5 is take action, get on stage, do it anyway.
Yeah, that's it. So we didn't. Yeah, that's right. We didn't grow up with these fears. It was sometime when you grow up, you're building a big sandcastle, and your dad comes along and goes, "Oh, that's not how you do it. You just suck at building sandcastles." You multiply that experience times it by 1 million, And then you end up as the person sitting on the couch having a beer and saying things like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this comic sucks. I could do better than him."
I could do better.
But then they don't do anything at all.
Exactly, man.
So we don't want that. So yeah, the next part of the book, part 2, was the comedy workshop, which we was the purpose of us reading the book. It's all about the joke structure.
Yeah, and so she gives a 26 days to kill a comedy material, and we've sort of dissected it apart. We haven't followed the 26-day format, but we've just got the best shit out of here.
Yeah. So the joke structure, man, there's essentially 2 parts of it. You got a setup part, and that's serious, and a part that's funny.
Yeah, exactly, man. So the setup is the serious part. It's not the funny part, and a big issue comes when people try to be funny straight out of the gate. You need to set it up with a serious, unfunny topic, especially early on when you're trying to find these setups. You want to be as unfunny as possible.
Yeah, that's it. So the setup is going to be the attitude plus the topic plus the premise, and we're going to get stuck into all of them.
So essentially the topic, each joke's about something, whatever it is. She lists some examples: drugs, body piercing, office politics, aeroplanes, relationships, any of those topics. That's your topic.
Yeah.
Then your attitude, she says, when you're starting out, you need to have 4 types of attitudes, as in one of these 4. It should be weird, scary, hard, or stupid.
So that's a bit of an easy way. You're going to memorize these words, and this is like a real good tactic to use. And you might have a funny attitude for a joke, a great topic, or a character, or whatever, but without attitude, it won't be funny at all.
Exactly. Down the track, we're going to get rid of these words, but right now, the 4 words you need are those 4 words. So an example of tying an attitude plus a topic is, do you know what's weird about drugs? So you've got...
Mate, you can hit us if you're
weird
better with the attitude with that one.
I said weird.
Yeah, you got to drag it out and put some emphasis on that.
Oh, mate, well, that's a premise. That's the next bit, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's like kind of... Wait, hit us anyway. Sorry, mate. I just cooked you there.
No, that's good.
I'm just like the heckler in the background.
No, actually, I didn't actually.
So
have
it's kind of like,
there.
I'll try and do one.
Yeah,
I probably won't do any better.
It, yeah.
Dom, this is by Dom Mirera. It's like, isn't dating hard?
That's good.
I asked one girl out and she said, "You got a friend?" I said, "Yes." And she said, "Go hang out with him."
Mate, not bad.
Funny,
I reckon that was pretty weak.
The emphasis, yeah. Come on, I do my best. But it's the hard part.
That's it. The attitude, and that's obviously hard. So remember the 4 things. You got weird, scary, hard, or stupid.
Yep.
And then so the third part of the setup. So you got topic, you got attitude, and then you've got premise. So premise is the interesting or original take. We're not funny yet. This is still setting it up. And so it has to directly answer the attitude and the topic. So an example of Robin Williams' setup, he says, do you know what's hard about having kids? You have to clean up your act. So in that 2 sentences there, we've got hard, which is the attitude. We've got having kids, which is the topic. And then we've got you have to clean up your act. So that's his premise. That's his setup. And then the next bit is the funny bit after that.
So the cleaning up your act part,
that's
as
the
I
premise.
said, is the premise. So good premise has to be very specific about what is hard. So when you're saying something's, what are the words, scary, weird, hard, you need to say exactly and specific what it is about it. And yet, as you said, it doesn't have to be funny here. This is a part to be authentic. Have your authentic opinion on whatever it might be.
Yes.
And don't try and be funny here. That's a big.
That's a hack.
It's a hack. Isn't it?
Man, I like how throughout all this book she talks about hacks, and so
got a bunch
hack. The hack attack here is if you've got a general topic rather than a specific. So it's like, do you know what's weird about men? So it's like so general. That's so that's a hack.
Yeah.
Another hack is things that have been done to death, like what's stupid about cats instead of dogs, or men leaving the toilet seat up, or picking your nose, or aeroplanes. They're hacks. They're done to death, she says.
Yep, something untrue. So something's is a crock of shit.
Yep. And
a big one here, I reckon this will crook everyone.
Yeah.
That's the word. Something that tries to be funny rather than genuine.
Exactly, man. So if you think there's something that's funny and try to use that as your setup, you're setting yourself up for a big bomb, because you need to have something relatable, everyday, genuine, authentic in your setup. Funny comes later.
And at this stage, it has to be about general. It doesn't have to be about you. And she has an example here, but I think it's pretty funny. She goes, "Isn't it weird how my girlfriend doesn't want to have sex?" Like, that's a bad setup. You're talking about you. You're going to be, isn't it weird that your partners don't want sex with you?
Or isn't it weird that guys want more sex than girls?
Something that's better.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So she's got some steps here for writing. So directly answer the attitude plus topic question. So have a look at that and be direct. keep it present tense. As we said, don't try and be funny. Avoid using words like I or me, and come up with a really strong opinion or a smart insight or a really original observation about what it is.
Another thing which we'll sort of dive into later is avoid stories, especially early on. Like you might see comics on specials or on stage that have it's like a half an hour story that's all jokes. But the thing is they're experts at it. At this point, you don't go up on stage and say, oh, you know what's weird? I went to this restaurant the other day and I ordered my main meal and drinks and it's just this long story that's a piece of shit.
Yeah, so your story, what's going to get people stitches in laughter when you're at the pub having a few beers, is completely different to stand-up comedy, and that's a big failure that a lot of people have. Big hack.
Big hack.
In the words of our great girl, Judy. So that's the setup, man.
Yeah.
So now we're into the act out where you're going all funny.
So she said the funny part is act out, and it's all about show, don't tell. So something that might be funny to read when written, where you essentially write the punchline, she said that's completely out of date. You got to act it out now.
Yeah.
So you need to make it funny by acting it out, not just by saying, setting up your premise and then saying what the answer is to that question. Yeah, that's shit house. You need to act it out.
Yeah, so act out's huge. So instead of talking about something, you really put your body into it and you actually perform it.
Yes.
So you turn into the people or the things that you mentioned in the setup and you literally act them out. So you might be talking about something about dads in general, and now you can go specific into yourself, and you go, my dad does, and then you act into something.
Yeah, exactly, man. Have you got an example?
Yeah, I got one. So the wrong way of doing it is, it was hard having dad as a lawyer. I had to motion for a puppy. That's, bad. It's if you're not acting out.
It's if you read it, it sort of makes sense as haha, lawyer motion, ha. But on stage, that's it. That's going to bomb hard. No laughs there.
And the right way, if Judy was doing it, and we'll see how I go. But it was hard having dad as a lawyer. When I wanted a puppy, I had to go, Dad, motion for a puppy. And Dad said to me, motion for a puppy denied. I felt really awkward to say that to you. I'm not gonna lie.
It did feel awkward for me as well, mate.
I think for the listeners are going to drop off now.
Mate, it makes sense. So obviously the first one was just you said it, whereas the second one is you're in court and you're a lawyer and then the dad's a judge, and that's how you're acting it out.
Yep. So you don't have to act out as a person. You can act out as vegetables, animals, minerals, or even being God in the act out part.
Yeah, exactly, man. She talks about how Ellen had a big bit on stage where it was all about she was on a phone call to God and talking about why there are fleas in the world. I think watch Ellen do it, not
so,
me.
So as we said, the premise can be general. Now you're being specific about you, so you're honing in on what is about you. So I guess at the premise, you're setting it up with something that relates to the whole audience, so then they can catch on.
Yeah.
And now you're going being funny and being about you.
Yeah, exactly, man.
So, mate.
The other part of it was is part of the funny can be a mix, and so a mix is in bringing something else that seems unrelated and making it relate to your original act out. So it might be so you've got your setup, you do your act out, and then you bring in a separate thing that's unrelated, and it's normally can you imagine if ... or what if ... and that's your mix where you're bringing something else in. And so an example here, this is probably more a written one, whereas this, she says marriage is difficult, it's like a 5,000 piece jigsaw puzzle, all sky. So she's relating there, so she's had a joke about marriage, and then she said bringing in jigsaw puzzles. So normally jigsaws and marriage are unrelated, but she's making them related.
Yeah. Love that, man.
So that's the mix.
Yeah. And then, mate, is that in terms of, and then we'll pepper with some other little tips from here, but that's essentially the structure, right?
Yeah. So essentially we've got our setup, which is your topic plus your attitude plus your premise, which is not funny. It should be serious, using your hard, weird, scary or stupid.
Interesting insight, yeah. Anything like that.
And then bang, funny.
You're acting out and you're being absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
Or you're trying to, and you're hopefully not
trying
popping zingers like us.
Trying to is the hardest part,
making your mate uncomfortable sitting across the chair from you.
Mate, this is I'm so uncomfortable. Mate, with the 10 days to performance time, I'm sweating already.
Yeah, we'll see how we go. That's hopefully improve on how we've performed here. So there's so additional little tips here. So one of the things she says here, to fine tune your topics, you need to find things that relate to everyone.
Yeah.
So with that, you got things from your personal world and topics of the world. So you need to find something in the middle, so it kind of hooks everyone in the audience.
Yeah, exactly. Getting as many people on board as possible and something that relates to you specifically as well.
So, for example, you might have something that is about your alcoholic mother.
Yeah.
That's not relatable to everyone.
Yeah.
Or your name, something funny about your name. That's not
Yeah.
relatable to everyone. Not everyone has got a funny name.
Yeah.
But something like your bald spot, it's much more relatable to people and funny.
Yeah, and it's if they're not bald themselves, they've probably got a dad or an uncle or a brother who's gone through that.
And anything that's like authentic or kind of funny about yourself, just point it out straight away in an authentic way.
Yeah.
And many comics turn these defects they got as their tickets to fame and fortune, she says.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big part. A big part is essentially getting up on stage and rehearsing. So she says on day 1 of this challenge, you should book in for a performance on day 16. And essentially then, obviously, you're going to have fear. And she says by booking your spot before having your material forces you to make that material.
Yeah.
Because if you said, oh, no, I'm not going to book yet, I'm going to wait till I've got 3 funny jokes and then I'll book, you're never going to get it.
You're never going to get the
By
funny
having
jokes,
by having that pressure and booking in first,
Yep.
then you're on the spot. And if you're going up there for 3 minutes, you better have some good jokes.
Some good shit. Another big part of the act, which is going to be important, is the opening.
Yep.
So the good opening gets the audience's attention, it defines your persona, and lets them know a pro is on stage. So when you go on stage, let them know that they're in for some serious original good shit, and you own the joint.
Exactly, man.
You're not a little bitch, are you?
Mate, it's very much Halo effect as well, isn't it?
Yes.
If you walk up on stage timid, scared, voice is a bit shaky, and your body,
that's more awkward.
the posture is almost like you can show that you're not going to be, that you're uncomfortable. You're pretty much setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
At least if you walk on, good posture, strong voice, good start, at least you're halfway there and they think, oh yeah, this guy's actually here to...
It's awkward for the audience otherwise when you're seeing
yeah.
a guy bomb and you're not going to walk out halfway through for any decent human being.
Mate, so the Melbourne Comedy Festival every year, I went to like a full show.
You saw a bomber, didn't you?
I saw a full show that, probably 150 people in the room, real funny. And on the way back, we were going to get a drink afterwards. We just walked into a bar and they're like, oh, hey, we've got this cool show tonight. It's like a 3 acts. Anyway, man, I walked in and there was 6 people. It was me and a mate and 4 others. And it was just tough, man. And they were,
you wish you weren't there as soon as you walked in, right?
It was tough. One guy was
comic
pretty
would
funny.
have known that. He would have seen that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's tough, man.
you don't want that. So
You don't
in
want-
summary, George Wallace, this awesome comic, I guess. I don't know who he is. But he said, take command as you walk on stage. Your attitude should say, this is my show. I don't know what happened before, but I'm here. This is what I do, and I hope you like it.
Yeah, nice. A few other things, a bit of salt and pepper, is the timing. So she says that generally when we're on stage, whether it's comedy or just any public speaking, our personal perception of time is warped compared to real time, and we normally think time's going faster. So we'll try and rush things. So she says that when we tell a joke, it almost takes like a second for the audience to get it and then laugh. But she says like a new comic is going to hear that 1 second of silence and extrapolate that to like 3 seconds in their mind and be awkward and jump straight into the next joke. She says you've got to give it time to sort of simmer a little bit for the audience to laugh. And then she says what you can do to help with that is adding tags. And what she says is a tag is essentially repeating the attitude. So if you tell a joke, it's weird, ... tell your joke, have you set up, have you funny, and then a quick pause and say it's weird or shake your head to act out that it's weird. That gives that 2 seconds of extra time in between to almost let the audience laugh before starting your next joke.
Yeah, she says it's kind of like a conversation with the audience. So if you're listening properly to the audience, you'll be able to tell when the laughing's rising and when it's falling, and then you can jump in at the right time. But she doesn't really prescribe when it's just dead silent.
Mate, she just assumes there's going to be a laugh.
Yeah, assume there's this big peak coming. Could just be dead silent. But, hopefully if you do the joke well enough, you don't have to deal with that.
Mate, the other thing I liked was... the next level stuff. So she says that after we've done this, she had a quote from the Dalai Lama, you need to first learn the rules in order to break them properly. So we had those strict rules of, at the start, you say the attitude and use one of those 4 words. So she says, once you're more comfortable, then you can cut out that specific word. You don't have to say what's hard about blah, blah, blah. You can say your set-up sentence that implies the attitude. Some other things she says is callbacks referring to previous jokes or previous moments in the night are always funny. Runners, so if you've got a specific catchphrase or persona, you use these runners, like, what's an example? I don't know. Anyway, have a specific runner that, that's so weird, or whatever your persona is, that you have got your runner that you can refer back to regularly. And the other one she says is the list of 3, which I think was pretty cool in that 3 is like this magic number in comedy, and you can have the first 2 things set something up, and the third bit is the twist, essentially, where it's something different.
So yeah,
Do you want an example? So Chris
Please.
Rock says,
funny one.
you said black people should get Social Security earlier because we don't live so long. You know, we've got hypertension, high blood pressure, the New York Police Department. So that's like your three things. So you've got these two health things. You're expecting him to say a third health thing, but he twists it up and say that black people get shot more.
Yeah, and another one toward the start of the book, which you mentioned, was stories, which we'll dig into a bit more. So when you're telling the story at the party, it's hilarious. It's a lot different now. So, so when you say something that describes rather than gives a good insight, is bad.
And that's, as you say, mate, if you're with your mates and everyone knows the context and everyone knows all the characters of the story, you can probably retell what happened and get a few laughs with your mates. But when you're on stage, if you're just telling a story, that's boring as shit. It has to be an original, insightful, funny thing that you're referring to.
Yeah, so you need to get straight to the point with your insight because the audience, they paid big bucks. They don't want to, just sit through your shit. You just got to get straight to the point with them. And some comics who are good enough, like really good, they'll have a story, but within it, they will have a story is broken up into a series of premises.
Exactly, man, exactly.
So someone like Jerry Seinfeld, I'll just do a little bit of this big story he has, but he says he doesn't like other people's showers because you can never adjust the air temperature right. I don't know the ratio on the dials. Sometimes a 16th of an inch is a 1,000th degree. Got to get out of the way of the water. So it's like one joke, kind of sets it up. And he goes, there's always that little hair stuck on the shower wall. So, he goes into the next joke.
Yeah.
So he can tell the story in a really masterful way, but with these serious jokes.
So even though it's one continuous story, which you said you don't do, it's really a cleverly crafted set of 4 different setups and premises and then funny bits.
Yeah.
So it's definitely the way to go.
Yeah. So man, good
Mate,
stuff.
I think the biggest part is to just do it, I think, and you bomb once, go back and see what worked, what didn't work, refine it, add new bits, keep working on it. Yeah.
It comes back to that thing. It's like if you look at the worst case scenario, then it's probably a good thing to do. And I think the worst case scenario with doing stand-up comedy is you absolutely bomb. And if you're in a safe environment, you can get away with it. It's not going to be too bad if you're doing it in a workshop.
Exactly, man.
But even if you bomb, you're doing something that's so far out of your comfort zone.
Mate, so that worst case scenario, you're getting out of your comfort zone, you're probably building confidence, you're probably going to be better the next time you do public speaking, you're going to probably be better the next time you've got some serious pressure on you. And so it's all these things that the worst case scenario is actually good.
Yeah. And then the best case scenario, also, you got another skill to bring into your life. So if you can weave in a few gags when you're doing it, public speaking or anything like that, there's nothing wrong with that.
Mate, I'm nervous.
I
but
can
hopefully
hear it
this
in your
book
voice,
helps.
man, a little bit. I'm a bit nervous as well, especially after that attempt to get the attitude, man. That was pathetic.
Mate, it's going to be tough.
Do you reckon they give refunds?
I reckon we should. I reckon we should record it. Record our sets.
No, you reckon? I don't know if they'll let us, man.
It'd be
They'll
embarrassing.
burn it, I think. We'll probably record it, and then
See how we go.
just tell everyone we didn't record it.
we'll say the phone didn't work. We couldn't record it.
Yeah. So interesting stuff, man. I hope that it's not too niche for the audience listening. I hope you guys got a bit of good juice from it.
Yeah. And if you want to get along to the show, 29th of March, 2018.
And DM us.
Come along and
details
see,
in the Facebook group.
Come along and see us absolutely bomb.
All that emergency stuff. You go in a hotel and they always have that map on the back of the door for the, in case of fire. I'm flattered they think I have it together enough to stand there checking directions out while the whole building's going up in flames. I probably get halfway out of the building, get lost, have to go back to the room, check the map again. And they always say, don't panic. Whatever you do, don't panic. Hey, the building's on fire. I might have 10 minutes to live. It's my option. I would like to panic. I never panicked in my whole life. I would like to experience that if it's going to be the end. Even if they save you, you have a perfect excuse. Gee, I heard they found you naked swinging from the shower curtain with the ice bucket on your head. What happened there? Well, I panicked. Well, that's understandable.